Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Kezia Nicole, and I am excited today for our Single Mothers Out the Mud series. If you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel. Don't be angry, be active. Like and share. Oh, you got to click the notification button, okay? Okay. So today I have a very, very special guest. I mean, she is phenomenal. I'm going to bring her in. Everybody, welcome to the studio, Miss Verlaine.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. We are super excited about today. So let me share with you about Miss Verlaine. Look, she earned her bachelor's of arts in psychology with a minor in biology from Hampton University. Go HU.
Hey.
Not to mention, this young lady got her master's in public administration with a concentration in nonprofit management from ODU University. Oh, wait, no, Old Dominion University. Now, considering our show is about single mothers out the mud, she's also a single mother to an amazing and beautiful 6 year old. Verlaine has gained experience in the public sector, nonprofit, private sector, and she currently serves as a project specialist for a Fortune 500 company that focuses on licensing stores to sell beer and wine throughout the country. Now, I'm gonna need a couple of drinks, Verlaine. You got to get the tea or the wine on that. My favorite thing is that she is the founder of the Connect 757, the social network of Hampton Roads Black professionals. In just over 5 years, she has been able to develop a membership based network that allows Black professionals to grow their network, explore the region, and grow personally and professionally while still having fun. Now, Verlaine also co founded Inspire Raising Royalty with her sister Naima Quinny. Verlaine is the president of the Hampton Roads chapter that includes Virginia Beach and the surrounding cities. Raising Royalty hosts events and programming to unite moms and their children. The organization was created in 2021 to serve as a conduit for sisterhood and provide an encouraging experience that stimulate educational, cultural, financial, civic health, recreational, and social development. Now, Miss Verlaine, she became the host of Melanated Spark podcast in January 2021, honey, during the pandemic, okay, where she has open and honest conversations with professionals who are balancing work life balance while she's still moving towards success. Verlaine also serves as a mentor for moms and millennials looking to grow in their careers, balance work and life, and create the life that they love. Everybody, welcome Miss V. Verlaine Quinny.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Verlaine, what are you and I met? Let's see. We're gonna do a quiz. Do,
Okay, so listen, I was really trying to figure that out because we have worked together like for so many years in and out. And so I was thinking, I was like, was it maybe 2016, 2017, maybe?
Probably. Was
Maybe
it now? Did we?
2018.
Was it the Urban League?
Because I felt like when you joined the board for Urban League, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I can't remember if I knew you personally, but I remember when I heard that you joined, I was like, oh, this is perfect because I knew how involved you were with the community. But like
Right,
me
right,
and
right.
you, like our relationship, I felt like really grew after that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. So can you share a little bit about just your journey to single motherhood?
Sure. So it's quite interesting. Like you mentioned, I have an amazing 6-year-old daughter full of personality, and we have been killing this thing called life together. It's a lot of things that I've kind of learned along the way. I will say that the most powerful thing that has really helped me move along this journey is my support system. And I know that's not necessarily available to everyone, but not being from Hampton Roads and majority of my family being in New York, being able to have friends and just a strong support system outside of just family members has been extremely helpful in my career, with my mentors, when it comes to professional development, when it comes to getting involved with the community. And that's how I've built a lot of relationships, is
Mhm.
doing the work in the community. Me and you have had a lot of conversations, especially around motherhood. So
Yep.
having that support, knowing that, you can lean on people outside of just family, especially when you're in a new place, has been extremely helpful along this journey. But it has not been easy,
Yeah.
especially when she was really small, looking for babysitters and daycare. And even now, my most recent struggle was getting her into school and finding schools and learning the school districts here. It's difficult, no lie. It is difficult, but it's doable.
Yeah,
Difficult but doable.
absolutely. And sounds like that your journey in motherhood actually inspired what you have going on today. So like what current events do you have going on now with your daughter in regards to like you said that she was going into school, and like what's something that you're working really hard on with her um, in having different activities?
So I'm a troop leader for Girl Scouts, and last year
Yay.
we finished our first year, and that was a new experience for both of us because it allowed her to really, make new friendships, try new things. It
Mhm.
allowed me and her to be in an environment that's different than just home, because I have to balance like being the mom, but also then being the troop leader. So she can't receive preference for everything, but she also has to understand, like, there's certain expectations because you are my daughter, but then,
Mhm.
it's just finding that balance between both of us. And
Yeah.
so, allowing her to try new things, not being as nervous. And now, child, she is just okay, little daredevil. She wants to do everything.
Okay.
I'm just so excited for her. And then we are in dance too. So she takes
Oh
tap
yeah.
and ballet,
Mhm.
and absolutely loves it, is not afraid to get on stage and shine. And just my thing is making sure that she gets exposure and access to things. And
Right.
so we try to attend festivals. We love going to the museum. We love the Children's Museum in Portsmouth. Like, she absolutely loves that museum.
I
So,
still haven't been there, child. I need to
oh
go.
my God,
You
we
tell
gotta
me
go.
next time you go, please.
Yes. And but things like that I think sometimes are just overlooked. Um, it's just so much here that you can do. And I'm the type where, as long as it's appropriate, I'm going to take my daughter,
Right.
so she can see and get that exposure as well.
So let's dive a little bit into the beginning of your journey of single motherhood or motherhood rather, because no one starts out single. Well, sometimes we do.
Right.
It
Yeah.
depends on the situation. By the
I
time
don't
the
think that's
paperwork,
really the plan. Like,
yeah,
you
ever,
know,
yeah.
right? I don't think that's always the plan. It kind of happens, but
Hmm.
I don't think anyone would plan for this journey because it's
Yeah,
hard.
it is. It
It's
is. So,
hard.
how old were you when you became a mom?
I was 26.
Ooh,
Yep. So I was
yeah.
26. I had just started my career. I was doing a lot in the community, was, serving on boards, volunteering, really similar to how I'm doing it now, but I wasn't in a position where I was creating the opportunities. I was just
Hmm.
participating and supporting a lot of the stuff in the community at that time.
Yeah, and so that I actually know what that feels like, right? Because like I, of course, I had older children by the time I had my last two, but I was able to kind of move around a little bit and get into the community, and like then I had a couple of babies, and like is like finding support in childcare. How do you manage? And you kind of dive a little bit into that, but how did you manage then to juggle still doing your community work and having someone to watch your child? Because that's a big issue for a lot of single moms.
So literally when I had in that transition, like later in my pregnancy, I had decided I was going to step away from almost everything. So at that point, because I didn't want any additional stress, I wanted to really
For how
focus.
long though?
It wasn't too long, okay? It was, I would say, maybe because I started my business around when she was like 2 or
Okay.
3. And so that's a whole nother story. But in that period, because I felt like I was missing something, and I think a lot of moms, and we just don't have a discussions, I feel like, around that. In that period, like after you have your daughter, even in that transition from pregnancy to having her, I know me, I felt like I had to figure out who I was again. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't want to just be defined as a mom, because most moms, after you have the baby, when people see you guys, people aren't even seeing the mom. They're coming to see the baby,
Correct.
they're asking how is the baby doing. So there's this disconnect of really kind of checking in on the mom.
Mhm.
And I think there was that just sense of kind of like lost myself, especially when I was defining myself in the work that I was doing, like in the community, and like, making that impact. And so I just had to make that shift. So that was I would say that was very hard for me, because
Mhm.
I didn't have that at all. The things that I guess that I defined myself career and professionally, I no longer necessarily had. So I had to figure out and really get back to myself. What things do I like to do? What do I enjoy? What do I miss doing? How do I
Mhm.
take care of myself? How do I take care of my mental self during this time of really kind of figuring out? So on top of learning how to be a mom, and that in itself is a lot, but it was exciting. It all has its pros and cons. But
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a really good tip. Like, for all the moms out there who was really really active prior to motherhood. I think what I hear you say is a good age is around 2 or 3, right? Because at that point, potty train and all that stuff. I got 2 more years to go, Verlaine.
It's coming. It's coming.
That
It's coming.
younger one, he gonna turn 3. I was gonna say I just started coming out. Like I just started coming
Yeah.
out. We went to a cookout yesterday. Then I think the weekend before last we went to a cookout. So I'm almost there.
I tell you, like, every time we talk, girl, I understand.
I know
I
I be missing. I be
understand.
feeling bad about everything because I see all the fun. We're gonna get into the fun that you be having, right? Like I see all the fun and I'm just like, oh, like the black, what was it, Black Business Fest? I was like, oh, I saw that. I was like, ah, it was just so much with the swim lessons. I was like, oh,
Yes.
because I wanted to take them to the pool the other day, but I was just like, see, I don't know if I feel like dealing with, kids, in water.
But that's very real. That's very real, because it's not, you can't just get up and go. Like, there's a process to preparing. There's a process to getting in the car. There's a
Yep,
process to, getting the snacks when you're driving, when you get there, and making sure that you unload and you have everything, cuz
correct.
God forbid you leave something in the car and now everybody got to load back up and
Look,
go back.
how about you go to the park and there's nowhere to change them? You got to walk all the way back to the car because they didn't poop in the.
Yes. Yes.
Woo.
Yes. Well, it's funny that you said that, because one of my things, and like to this day, I absolutely hate it. And it was something that I was so scared of, like early on, is like public restrooms. So in that potty training phase, I was like, how are we going to do this? Like, what is this going to look
We
like?
just gonna stay home.
We just going to stay home. Okay. But yeah, things like that, I think you just don't think about it. You don't know it. You don't know how you're going to handle it. You don't know your experience until it's your time to deal with it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and having childcare and support while you
Oh,
do things that are recreational but lesser known work. Like a lot of when we look at the challenges that single mothers have, especially young single mothers, is like working and finding childcare. You know what I mean? Like when I
yeah.
was growing up, I had well, when I first got into motherhood, I had like childcare assistance, but like here in Virginia at the time, specifically for a few moms that I know, they childcare assistance wasn't always available, or it was like a 6 month waiting list. It's like, okay, in order for you to get childcare assistance, you have to get a job. In order to get a job, you have to find 2 to 3 weeks of childcare. You know what I mean? To get your first paycheck. So
Right.
it became, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And of course, now since the pandemic, there's been funding opening up, but now there's a childcare shortage. So
And childcare is so expensive. I will say I was super fortunate. And I think you actually asked me this earlier, and I missed the question a little bit. But about childcare early on, I actually found So I started out in an actual center
Mhm.
in Newport News.
Mhm.
Absolutely loved it. That's when I lived on the peninsula. I ended up moving to the south side and I needed childcare on this side because I work and now live on this side.
Yeah.
And so looking for childcare, probably for me, it was just so stressful. And at this point, my daughter was probably like 6 months, maybe. That's when
Mhm.
we moved on this side. And at that age, you're just super nervous. You don't want to like leave your child obviously just anywhere, and you just always hear so many stories. And so I
Yeah.
ended up finding my it was an in-home daycare. I ended up deciding to do in-home daycare, and it was through networking. My girlfriend recommended someone else,
Okay.
and unfortunately that person didn't work out, but she recommended someone else that lived in the neighborhood. And that ended up being who Nia stayed with until she started pre-K.
Wow.
And I was like, well, can't she just stay here for pre-K? And she was like, no, she got to
No,
go to school.
she
And
gotta
I
go.
was like, okay. But things like that. And like, we have a fabulous relationship now. But one thing that really stuck out to me is early on in our conversations before Nia even started going to her was she stressed the importance of making sure that no matter how old they are, they know how to communicate, whether they're nonverbal, whatever it may be, so that in case something is wrong, they can communicate, whether
Mm.
it's talking, hand signals, whatever. And
You
that
have
to
her
me,
number. Can we? Can
yes.
you put her number? Can you put her number? No, I'm joking. Can you put her number in the chat? It's a whole bunch of people that need childcare.
But she was absolutely fabulous. And that to me, I was like, she did not play. She kept my baby safe. She treated them just like, hers. And even to this day, that is their additional child.
Yeah, and that be a thing, right? Especially with home daycares, like sometimes you don't know like who come into
Yeah,
somebody's house, you know what I'm saying? And with childcare facilities, it's kind of like it's a public kind of a public thing, so it's like everybody should be accounted for. But either way, it's just hard to find somebody that you
it
trust. And
is.
so I feel like that's an amazing tip, right? Like for young moms or moms who are looking to transition their babies into childcare, to be able to choose someone that has certain principles like you know making sure that your baby can communicate, whether it's verbal or non-verbal.
Those
That's
values, like
huge.
what do they value, in terms of keeping your child safe?
Right.
Like what are the procedures that they take? Like those
Hmm.
are the things like you really need to know. And I felt like because how she treated her kids and how she treated the other kids and you know,
Yeah.
it was demonstrated, even in the
Yeah.
conversation.
Now
Um
you said something earlier about childcare being expensive. So I worked in childcare for 5 years prior to me going into all everything else. But how much do people pay on an average for a car a month? 600, $500 to $600, right?
yeah,
And that's replaceable, right? How much do we pay for a house mortgage, right? All that's replaceable, and so you know, it is expensive to the normal eye because like people are used to just babysitting, right? To a certain
mm.
extent, but a life is irreplaceable,
I agree with that. I
and
agree with that.
so if we can pay a certain amount of money per month for between insurance and a car note, like almost $1,000. I'm not saying that childcare should be expensive so that people can't afford it, but I'm just saying it is like a human life that's irreplaceable. So when I do, have to deal with like childcare, I don't really complain about how expensive it is because my child,
Mhm.
you can't, you know what I mean? But it is expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like it is expensive, but
Yeah.
is a life that's irreplaceable. So how much is something to pay
I
for?
think it depends on what, like, if there's additional services. For example,
Mhm,
I feel like the classroom size, how many kids they have, how many teachers are there, is there
mhm.
going to be more one-on-one? I feel like those type of things then kind of can make sense for things being so much higher, but
Right.
when the market average is just way above what it needs to be, I think that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So is it BMW childcare services or
Because it
Kia?
sometimes people like
Nothing wrong with Kia in case y'all want to sponsor. But I'm just saying, is it BMW or what I'm saying?
what level is it?
What level? What level of childcare we gonna pay? That's so wrong. That's so wrong. That's so wrong.
But I mean, that was like you just look at the prices, and sometimes, like, especially even during the pandemic,
Yeah.
like, and I think the other side of it too is when you're paying for something, you still have a certain level of expectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes into the cost too. That
Yeah.
that definitely goes into it.
So let's hop on in over to like hardships, right? Because that is the most um I guess pivotal time in a mother's life is when she goes through like a certain level of hardships. Can you share with our audience maybe like music that you listen to, um, or I guess you would say like the biggest challenge that you had to take action on? Because obviously show is don't be angry, be active, and we are talking about single mothers out the mud being able to overcome the journey, the hard journey of being a single mom. Can you share a little bit about your process in dealing with a specific challenge?
Yeah, so as I had mentioned earlier, like it wasn't necessarily planned to be a single mom, but life events made me a single mom. And so with that, it was a very hard adjustment because mentally I'm like, how did I get here? How did I get here? Right. But I would say during that time was really pouring into other things, things that I knew were positive, things that I knew would come back to me to kind of help me either mentally, spiritually, and just have me in better spirit. So that positive support system was really important. I would say some of the books that I was reading, because I love to read. Um, Back then I didn't have too many books. It was more so music, things that are calming, things that are getting me in better spirits. I was taking more classes, things like that. But I would say in the transitional period, I read this book called Mixed Emotions, and the title is a little confusing. The title sounds like it's more of an emotional type of thing, but it was really talking about the transition in terms of, starting a business, you're working, how do you kind of determine if you should leave your job, if you should balance both. And in that point, I knew I want to start a business. I was at my lowest point. I said, so at this point, I have nothing to lose. So let me pour into something that has been a dream. It's something that I wanted to do, and that was my opportunity to do that. So I kind of started feeding into educational materials that would help me kind of get my mind off of the negative things. Because
Mm-hmm.
one thing, we all go through things. I'm a pretty positive person for the most part. You're always going to see me pretty happy, but I go through things, but I don't like to sit in those moments.
Right,
I don't dwell in those moments. I go to therapy. I release some emotions when I need to. I acknowledge those emotions, which I think is really important. I don't think we should necessarily sweep them under the rug.
right,
And then later on, you're dealing with them when it has nothing to do with a certain situation. And
right,
so I always say just kind of pour yourself into the things that you enjoy, and eventually you'll become that person that you recognize again. You'll become that person before you went through any of the issues. And so for me, that was educational material, that was affirmations, just that positive part. And when I really struggled, I would have to just keep telling myself, like, I would have to say those positive affirmations, even if I didn't feel like I really believed them in that moment. I believe also in speaking things into life. So I knew I may not feel like this today, but maybe tomorrow I'll feel a little bit better. So I'm gonna
right,
say
right,
it
right,
today.
right,
So
right.
just always trying to surround myself with positivity, or finding things that can pour into me to make me feel better, or helping somebody else out. I definitely get recharged by, seeing other people win, seeing other people feel good. That part also kind of helps me feel a little bit better, especially if I'm in kind of a negative space.
Well, I was gonna say, and it's funny that you mentioned helping other people out because like having like a blended family, and you know, getting into a new relationship. Sometimes that some mothers use that as help. And it made me think about that. Did you see that TikTok video where the guy who's bringing his one kid
Yeah.
food, right? Like, what do you think about that? And he didn't bring none for the other siblings. I mean, I don't think he's with the mother anymore. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know. I've been getting mixed reviews on a lot of moms are like taking one side or the other side. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on
So it's interesting because I feel like it's not his responsibility.
it?
It's not like that's a fact. It's not his responsibility to take care of anyone else, any other kids that are not his. It's not his
Right.
responsibility. Now, if he chooses to do so, then that's great. If they have a good relationship, and he feels like, okay, I'm gonna just bring something for the other kids, great. But the way that conversation went, I don't think they necessarily had a positive relationship. So I felt like just from looking at it, it looked like he just wanted to do what he needed to do for his child
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
about his day,
Well, see, and then we don't know the whole story, right? So
You
maybe he used
don't,
to
yeah.
bring stuff for the other kids, but
And
then
then
he just
stop.
all of a sudden stopped. And so I come from a blended family, and then I have a blended family, and I can only imagine the feeling of what it does to the other kids. To all of a sudden, you used to bring us McDonald's, but now you don't, and you're only bringing it for one child. And what he doesn't realize is that that's going to cause problems for his child, because you can't watch kids 24/7, right?
Yeah, you don't know
So
what's
that
gonna
breeds
happen.
resentment, which could be abuse, psychological, emotional abuse from the other siblings, right? Because they're jealous. And so you really create a hostile environment for your child when you do stuff like that. And it may not even be anything for the mom to control or be able to control. Because again, I remember growing up, my siblings did a lot of stuff to me without my mom even knowing it. And it was very subtle, but it still impacted me. So, I mean,
Mhm.
that's a
So
real.
with especially from your experience then, how would like what would you have expected? Like how would you have expected that to kind of play out, I
Well,
guess?
it sounds like he was doing it every day. So that's the reason why she was able to catch it on camera. I think one, having a
Um,
conversation and sharing with him, like, look, I understand that this is not your kid, the other kids aren't your responsibility, but you actually could impact him in a negative way toward his siblings if his siblings are jealous of him. You know what I mean?
but I feel like that is a conversation that
Mm-hmm.
probably needs to be had within the household, like
Mm-hmm.
amongst everybody, you know?
Well, it could be younger kids. So like, yeah, you can do that, but you still can't take away the emotions of
Yeah,
what you see what I'm saying? Because like
yeah,
there are siblings that resent each other and don't even know why. You understand what I'm saying? It don't have nothing to do, but it still can impact. Yeah, you can, because I think the kids were like under 7. The other kids were like under 7. If I think I
oh,
saw,
they were all little, okay.
yeah, they were all little. So just creating that dissension, you know what I mean, between
Mhm.
the kids, because they probably don't naturally, want to feel that way, but that you can't do anything but that. And I think also, like, the other thing the mother could do is like not have the kids around to bring, like, what I would have done is let the kid eat without the other siblings being around. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that they should if that's the case, I feel like he should, like, come pick up the child, they go
Correct.
somewhere and do it
And
together.
eat it in the parking lot. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that here. I think for me, because I had a previous relationship where it was like he brought like 5 kids in, and the mom for Christmas, because we were taking care of the kids full time, and the mom, like, she had freedom to just do whatever, go on vacation, whatever, right? Like, I was taking care of 5 kids that wasn't mine, and I had 3 4 at the time, so it's like 9 kids in the house. And so for Christmas she would ball out, like get them like video games, da, da, da. And because we were taking additional 5 children, we couldn't necessarily afford
Yeah.
all the fancy stuff. And so I said, no, like, you can't bring that here. Like,
Yeah.
y'all got to celebrate
How y'all
there.
celebrate over there.
Correct. Because we knew that we couldn't afford taking care of her additional children. I don't think she was paying child support or really supporting really at all. And,
Mm.
it was one income. And so stuff like that, like, she would do that, like bring stuff. And I'm just like, no, like, you can't, because the other kids feel bad. So it
Yeah.
really takes like a conversation um, to be able to manage that type of situation. And who knows? I don't know if he was like, that could have been a spiteful. Again, so many details.
Yeah, there's a lot I think there was just a lot that we just did not know with that
Mhm.
story. But I love the fact that you brought the example about the Christmas gift, because that's a great example of why you can't do it like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you just
Yeah.
kids, you just don't know what you psychologically do to kids when you like treat one kid differently, especially if the kids are used to you treating them
Yeah.
the same. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a perspective. That's
I
certainly a
will say I've been pretty, I think, blessed in terms of like the dynamic right now is, I think is, I don't even know how to really describe it.
yeah.
I'm just blessed. There's not really negative spaces
Right.
with like our family structure right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not with my daughter's father, and me and his parents have a great relationship. Me and her dad still have a great relationship. And I don't know, we all just still function pretty well. It
Yeah.
was not always like that with me and her father. I'm gonna be very clear.
Yeah. It takes some years now.
Yes, but we're in a great place now, and like being able to have a new relationship, and that's a blended family as well. And just
Yeah.
seeing how all of that, is functioning, that's new for me.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say that's definitely a different show, like co-parenting. Like we got to come back on here and just talk about it, Lord. Co-parenting is a whole nother dynamic that heavily impacts single moms. Like,
yeah.
so the co-parenting bit is a lot. So share with me, what would you say, like, what icons would be on your Mount Rushmore of inspiration as a mom?
It's so funny. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, how many people is up there? How many are up this for? And then I thought, why do we still have this? But anyways, that's a whole nother thing.
What we
But
gonna do? We're gonna replace them with the people that you name
with
out.
my people, right? So I immediately was thinking like my mom and my sister, like immediately.
That's two.
Um, my mom is just simply amazing, amazing woman. Obviously raised me. I actually have her name, so I'm her namesake, named after her. But she's powerful. She is super kind. My hospitality, this is where like cuz I love to entertain, I love to do things. I've
Hmm.
learned a lot of that from her. The social part is my dad, but the hospitality and, treating people right, and just being kind and doing the right thing is definitely what I've learned from my mom. And her fashion sense, just absolutely love it. We always have a great time. And then my sister, she's so strong, and I think sometimes we look at strong sometimes as a negative thing, but my
Hmm.
sister has persevered. She is getting her PhD now. Like nothing stops her. Like she
Wow.
nothing stops her at all. And I think it's amazing that, she's in school, she has kids as well.
Hmm.
Two of her kids are older now, so they're older, that's not they're older. They're doing their own thing. But I think she's persevered through so much, and she's still here, still excited for like the next thing. And I think that's really important. My mom has definitely guided us through a lot of our experiences
Right.
and whatnot. My sister is a single mom as well. So like that's the other part with me. My mom wasn't a single mom. My mom,
Right.
was married to my dad, but my sister
Right.
is a single mom. And so kind of watching her navigate and how, you still persevere, you still, keep it pushing. We're not gonna like sit in this moment. We're gonna,
Right.
continue to move forward, enjoy life. And
Absolutely.
I thought about Michelle Obama because I just absolutely love how authentic she
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
Reading her book, you see how she dealt with the presidency from
Mhm.
her perspective, and some of the struggles she had as a mom, but then also being the first lady and the criticism she received and how she continued to handle it but still be her authentic self.
Right.
I think we're really important. And then the last person, I don't know who I would want the last person.
Yourself.
Okay, we'll put my face up there too then. I'll put my face up there then. Thank you. Thank you. I am
That's
proud of myself though for the
yes,
things
yes,
that I've been through, and still, be able to show up every day for myself, for my daughter, for the community.
absolutely.
Um,
And speaking of showing up every day, so you have a magnificent business. Share with everyone about your business, because you've mentioned this several times on here, about like how you like what things are you doing now with your business and how people can connect with you.
Sure. So my business is the Connect 757, and we are the social network for Hampton Roads Black professionals. And we focus on bringing Black professionals together through social networking events. It allows us to grow our networks, it allows us to grow personally and professionally, but then we also are able to explore the region and still have fun along the way. And so right now is our summer series. So we have a Melanin Brunch, which is our summer networking series. We have our Black Professional Happy Hour that is monthly, as well as the Coffee Connect and our Summer Outdoor Adventure Series. And this summer we are highlighting learning how to swim as a community, and we have partnered with Swim with Sam, and she is offering introductory swim classes for individuals and for families. And she's a mobile swim instructor that can come to you or host workshops with you and classes with you. So those are some of the things that we have going on right now. All of our events are on our website as well as on Eventbrite, and we are on social media at the Connect 757. And we also house a private Facebook community called Hampton Roads Black Professionals that allow us to network, share our businesses. We do a series that we call Casual Connects, where we are able to just come together and again explore the region, attend the festivals, share events and things that are going on in the area as well. So that's our focus, building our networks so that we can all grow personally and professionally together while having fun.
So share with our audience and me as far as like how do you become like a member? You mentioned that you have like a membership and you have lots of fun things going on. I've been to the quite a few of the events myself, a member myself. Now, of course, as we talked about my new position of motherhood of two children under two. Well, no, she's three now, but
Okay.
it's still wearing pull-ups and diapers. So, um, but prior to that, I was getting in with y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you was
So
out
y'all
here.
are keeping hope alive. The events were becoming a lot more exciting. So that's why, my membership is gonna be on point. Okay. So share
Yes.
with everybody how they can become a member.
Yeah, so you want to go to our website, theconnect757.com, and you can easily sign up to grab your membership. It's either $25 per month or $275 for the year. And that allows you to have access to exclusive events. We have a separate private Facebook community that is just for members where we can celebrate each other. We can really promote each other, collaborate, share the wins that we're doing within our network, but then tap into our network. For example, that's how the Swim with Sam came about. Sam is a member of the Connect 757. I said this will be perfect for our Summer Outdoor Adventure series. And we partnered. We did the class, and we already were able, once I shared it, we were able to the news came out and covered the story. And so that was actually shown yesterday. And so she's already had an overwhelming amount of support for families that want to learn how to swim this summer. So things like that, where we can tap into each other, share each other's information with our individual networks. So that, again, it goes back to us being able to support each other, build our networks. We're all able to grow personally and professionally. And then what we're working on right now is our Hampton Roads Black Talent Bank, and that will be available for members, for the community to take advantage of Black professionals to either fill job opportunities, to be able to serve on boards, committees, or commissions within the region. And you're really learning more about some of the top talent in the region. So it's super exciting, super excited for what we're doing right
Yay.
now.
Well,
Yes.
guys, don't forget to follow the Connect 757 Verlaine. She has a wonderful, wonderful network and program. And thank you so much, Verlaine, for joining
Thank
us.
you for having me. I had so much fun today.
Absolutely. And guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so you can have more experiences in learning about the process of single mothers out the mud, because we are some strong beings. Take care.